What's going on? Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So this is the podcast studio, as you can see.
Pretty
Today,
amazing.
yep. Well, it's all right. For anybody watching, for anybody who's coming back to watch, I know I haven't posted in a while, but shit's been kind of crazy around the house. Lots of stuff going on with guests invading my studio and sleeping here. But here we are once again with another episode, and this time we got a firefighter in here.
Yeah, we do.
Jason Reardon.
Thank you. Thank you for having me tonight.
Hold up. Let's try that again. We got Jason Reardon. What's up, dude? How you been?
Good. Doing real good.
Fight any fires lately?
No, it's actually been quiet. Thank God.
Oh, well, yeah. Also that, yeah. I remember last summer, it was pretty intense.
Yeah, last year we got hit pretty hard. We had some major fires in
my backyard, quite
Yes,
literally.
you do.
Twice at
Yes.
that in my backyard.
Yes, twice.
Yeah.
Once was my property, and then the other one was just down
Oh yeah, the
street.
one across the river, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, both of those. I was like, so much anxiety.
Yeah, that one, actually, we were at the fire academy when that started, and I happened to jump on Facebook real quick, and I noticed that you were putting pictures up, and I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, that's across his river. I could see his house from my river. I'm like, that's my backyard.
Oh my god.
So I'm like, right away, I'm like, now I'm panicking. And I hear the fire whistles going off to our scanner and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm like, for a working fire. And I'm like, what's this working fire? I'm like, this is more of a brush fire. So I jumped on the phone real quick, called my wife, and I'm like, what's going on? She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, the backyard's on fire. And she's like, no. I'm like, yeah, take a walk outside. I'm like, there's like a ton of fire trucks right now sitting on top of the hill.
Dude.
So come to find out, I was calling a couple people and stuff like that, and they were saying that it's the field that's on fire, that part that we owned. So I'm like, oh boy. I'm like, the wind was picking up, and I was calling a couple of the people, and they're like, the wind's shifting, but we cut it off, so we're good. Your house is good and stuff like that. So they were actually to save not too much, but they were able to save pretty much a lot.
Let me tell you something. I remember that night quite vividly, and I remember my wife going, "Is that a fire?" And I was like, no. In my head, I was like, dramatic.
It was a fire.
And I looked out the window, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
And it was so big already, dude.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this makes me a bad person, but pretty much I like gave orders. You know what I'm saying? Like I told my son, I was like, because, it was big, the wind was blowing.
Yeah.
I could see the embers coming towards our house, so I was like, this could be a problem.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So my wife went and got the hose and started like watering the grass, I guess.
It's a good thing because that'll catch something else.
Yeah.
Quickly,
And
so.
then my son, I told him, go upstairs, get a bag, start packing some clothes just in case. I was like, pack a bag, help your sister pack a bag.
Yeah.
And then I went and I grabbed my camera.
That's
And
good.
I
Good
said to
thinking.
myself, I'm going to get pictures, but just in case. Well, I grabbed my camera, but I also put a bunch of gear in a duffel bag because I was
Camera
like,
comes first.
oh yeah, what are we doing?
Especially the pictures. I mean, even though later on the next day I actually stayed home from work, and I actually was up there by them guys at the scene, and I was talking to a couple of detectives. We kind of found out what happened, but I also shared your pictures that night
Oh yeah?
with a couple of the guys, and we're like, wow, I'm like, this is like very helpful to look into the investigation, because what happened was the person that started the fire, she actually got scared, and she ran back home, which is the next town over.
Oh,
And then she was over there telling people, and they're like, you got to go back and explain what happened. And then when she got back to the scene, she's actually told one of the fire marshals that were there, like, I'm the one that started this. And they're like, what?
I mean,
I'm like, so.
good on her, right? I guess. I mean,
yeah, I guess.
You
I mean,
know?
we found out who started it, what I'm saying?
know?
It was an accidental. She was, going part to a homeless.
oh,
She didn't want to camp out with nobody, so she figured, this is the spot. And she was cold.
So she's trying to
started
stay
the
warm?
fire, but it just took off on her.
oh, that's unfortunate.
And on less of that, it was, in the season where we banned all fire.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
couldn't even, I mean, it was down to a barbecue grill where you couldn't even barbecue.
Oh, that's wild. I mean,
So,
yeah, it was so crazy.
yeah.
I remember, I think it was actually the next day as well. I went out there with my camera and I was just walking around jolly as can be, taking some pictures.
Yeah.
And I bumped into some guys wearing some like reflective stuff. And they was like, hey man, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'm just taking pictures. And they were like, no, this is an active investigation. They were like, you can't be here. And I was like, oh, I didn't know. I was like, that's my bad, bro.
Should have told me. We were just helping them out. That's all.
I was like, hey, it's what I do, But that being said, there's one thing I learned as a photographer is that you ask for forgiveness, not permission.
Yeah.
You know, so
exactly.
I got a few photos. It is what it is.
Yeah. That was actually helpful for some of the guys that I showed the pictures to.
I mean,
They
I'm
were
glad.
like,
I'm glad.
Wow, I'm like, we didn't get this point. We don't get these point of views.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I'd imagine it's a very unique perspective that
Yeah,
you
the
know.
only part we're getting is the ground coverage.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
that's what we see. But when I showed them the couple of drone pictures you had up, they're like, oh, wow. I'm like, this is really helpful. I'm like, we actually see what's actually coverage, and they actually took measurements off of that, and they walked it the next day.
Really?
And the
Oh, that's so
measurements were
cool.
actually from the pictures that you took, and then pictures, and then from the moment they walked it and measured it out,
Wow.
it was actually in that time frame where, you know, everything measured out perfectly.
That's
So,
very cool.
Yeah, it helped out a lot.
I'm glad to
And
hear it.
I did. I could text you next day, and I said,
Yeah,
"Yo,
yeah.
your pictures helped out a lot."
Yeah.
You know,
I didn't know to what extent it helped, but that's actually really
Yeah.
cool to hear. That's dope. Yeah.
yeah, no, it is.
Now we should share this information with the police officer that kicked me out of the next fire that
Well,
happened.
I said that. I said that to them. I said, hey, not for nothing. I said, but this guy can help us out at some points. You know what I'm saying? I know we
Yeah.
have law enforcement, like for example, the one that we had down the street.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But there is points where we can't have them come as quickly as we can get somebody neighborhood like you.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
in the neighborhood. So, but you can always pick up and just fly anywhere. You
Oh,
can't
yeah,
stop. You
yeah.
can't. We can't stop you from just picking up and.
I mean, I'm sure there might be some rules against it on a higher level. I'm not entirely sure. I'd have to look into
You know,
it.
you can't. I mean, my opinion is.
But I mean, so long. But that's the thing. Like, I wouldn't even like. There's a pretty safe distance that I can maintain and still get like clean
Yeah,
shots. You
did.
know.
You definitely did that night.
Yeah, yeah. Like I wasn't in there. You know, I was pretty far away.
And to happen to something like that to a fireman is like your heart starts racing and stuff like that, and you're just like, man, come on. I'm supposed to be putting them out, not
Yeah,
not
yeah.
worrying about
Yeah,
am I-
yeah.
my home's gonna be okay for the night. But
Oof,
I mean, it does. It puts a worry on you, but it was good.
that's
it was,
rough. The other fire that happened at the warehouse, my wife woke me up at like 2 a.m. and
Yeah.
literally I was like, what happened?
So-
And she was like, grab your camera, there's a fire. And I was like, where? And she was like, down the block. And I was like, say less.
I mean, she probably heard it come off, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
I did.
so-
I jumped out of bed like friggin' Batman, man. Like I got dressed real quick. I ran down there with my camera. And
So-
and that one I got some really nice photos. And again, like you see my giant lens. I was so far
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
And
I tried to get you on scene that one, but they're like, no, and he's got to stay off to the side.
You
You
know
can
what-
take him from the side, but
you know what was frustrating is that the officer that was there, he was like, "Are you with the news?"
yeah.
And I was like, "No." And he was like, "So you got to get back."
Yeah.
And I was like, "That I could have said yes."
Yeah.
Like I was like,
It's-
"Come on, I could have just lied." you know.
But I explained to them guys too that the pictures that he's taking is awesome.
Ugh.
Awesome. I mean, I'm pushing to get you in with us to float around on
that'd
some
be
major
cool,
stuff.
man.
So I know you've been itching for that. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Incidentally, after he told me I had to back up, I went to my backyard because I figured I could just go through the woods and go around the back.
All right.
But I walked into the woods, right? But it was like 2 a.m. Right? So I walked into the woods and it was so dark. And I was like, what am I doing? It was so scary. So I just turned around and I came back home.
I mean, as a cameraman, you got to take them risks.
Oh,
That's how you
dude.
get the shots.
I'm scared of the dark, man. I will
God.
run into the burning building to get a cool photo. But if it's dark,
not
man,
gonna
like I got pretty deep in there. And then I just looked around and nothing happened.
Right.
I didn't hear anything in the brush or nothing.
Right.
And I was just like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Like I was like, this is the beginning of a movie. Like this is like where you go missing,
Hit the record button.
Yeah, dude. I was like, no way, man. So I just went back home. I was like, I have enough pictures. It's whatever. Oh man. Now you're a firefighter, but apparently so is my wife.
Yes, she is. She is.
That was a curveball, my friend. That was a curveball.
She is. She is becoming one.
It
She's
becoming,
one.
yeah.
So right now she's a probie. She's a probation fireman.
How's she doing? She's not gonna watch
Let me
this.
tell
Be
you what,
honest.
dude. I'll be honest with you.
She's not gonna watch this.
She's not gonna watch this.
Be honest. Yeah, you can be- this is a
She's
safe
gonna be
space.
all over this. She's probably right now like, what does he say? Like, what's he doing? What kind of questions he get? Your wife is.
Wait, hold that thought. Before we even did this, you mentioned you want me to grab some whiskey, man. You want to drink?
It's fun with me. I brought some with me too.
Oh, did you? I'll
Yeah.
bring some glasses.
That sounds good.
All right, let's pause for a second,
All
guys.
right.
I just remember we're not gonna get into this conversation without a drink. Hold on. And we're back.
Cool deal.
Cheers, brother.
You too, bud.
Now you were just about to start. You were just about to start talking some trash on my wife. Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
So, we have two. Catherine's coming. Well, your wife is coming in now. So this is the first. We have one that just finished fire school. So this is actually my first actually having women on fire department that I've been with.
Really?
So this is exciting, and we pushed for this to have them more come. We want more in, so we wanted like to mixture it off. And I'm big on women doing anything. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of women. For my day job, I'm a heavy construction mechanic. Mechanic.
Yeah, yeah.
So I do a lot of heavy equipment, and I met a lot of women that are some badass women. And Catherine, your wife, is one of the badass women I have ever met. That's actually coming into that. I mean, for you, you're probably like, yeah, okay, whatever.
You know?
But you know what? She pushes herself, and she's mandatory at telling herself that, I need to notice. I need to notice. I need to notice. And she don't stop. Like, she just wants to keep going and going and going and going. I'm like,
It's so hard for me to see that side of her because, like, when we got this house 3 years ago,
right,
and there was another option, and the other option had the master bedroom on the first floor.
right,
This one has it on the second floor.
okay.
So you need to walk up the stairs. And that was a big point of contention for her. She did not want a house where she had to walk upstairs to go to sleep.
You made a right choice though, making it upstairs, because now she's into it.
So when she was like, "I'm going to be a firefighter," I was like, "Excuse me, a fire what?"
Well, I guess she did. I mean, she was telling me too that she did paramedic work too. She
Yeah,
worked for,
yeah.
So
But that was a lifetime ago. Like
that's what she was telling me.
Now
I'm
she doesn't want to
like-
walk up the stairs.
I'm like, I said to her, I said, it's already not into your blood, but you've been around it. So it's kind of like, it's nothing different than running EMT or,
For sure,
fire.
for sure.
Where EMT is, you're only going to a stink, where fire, you're actually chasing a devil.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing different is now you're chasing the devil.
I mean, I think it's really cool for her. Like, I like seeing how, like, she does get really excited about the whole thing, and that makes me really happy.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna lie. There was one instance we were hanging out, and I forgot what she was about to do. She was literally about to do something, and a call came in, and within seconds she was out the door.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, that was the first time I thought to myself, like, oh wow, like she's gonna go into a fire. That's actually kind of scary.
Yeah, she's at this point right now, I mean, you got some comfort where she's not able to get interior.
For sure.
So,
but still, me just being home, she's
Right.
running out the house.
Right.
Like,
You're thinking,
like the danger level is not zero. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know there's levels, but it's not zero when she runs out the house.
yeah.
And what bothers me, I think, is just how, like, frantic she is. Like,
Right.
that call comes in,
Yeah.
and she's like excited. Like,
she's
she's
even
like,
that,
let's
she's,
go.
Yeah, she's even that way when we put drills together. Like the next week, like when we're training, I'll tell them, that night, like, listen, this is what we're doing next work, and she's like a little kid in a candy store.
Yeah,
She's like
yeah.
just jumping and clapping
Yeah.
her hands.
Dude,
And
the
I'm
pictures I took of you guys that one day training,
Yeah.
and she's doing her little, like, I was like, you're training to save lives, right?
So she is my clown of the fire department, because
Oh, yeah?
she just like, she's the clown fireman, because she just wants to go, 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 and just like her little skits that she does is like,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, oh my god, I'm like,
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Just such a goofball.
she's awesome. But the thing is though, she's willing to train. She's willing to push herself, and that's a big thing where some of these younger kids don't.
But, by the way, it's really good whiskey, man.
Isn't it? That's
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
That's smooth.
Yeah.
But she's willing to go until her body tells her she can't go no more. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I can't wait to get her into the fire school.
Yeah.
Get her done and over with, and get her going.
Just
'Cause-
today, she was saying how excited she is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she is. So
Now, how long have you been a firefighter?
I've been on it almost 8 years. I'm going on 8 years already.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Do you have any, like, has there been any really, like, stories that stand out? Any incidents where you were like, wow, like, that's...
There is. Yeah, there's times where it gets me. We had one that we got called into the next town over in Franklin Township. We actually lost the girl in a house fire.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, so it hit you. It never leaves your mind. You know what I'm saying? I've seen some nasty stuff. I mean, not only that, but I see some nasty car wrecks.
Oof.
Nasty car wrecks. So it's pretty sickening.
You know, I didn't consider that part of it actually. Like I've definitely been made aware of the day-to-day lives of first responders,
Right.
EMT, firefighters, police officers, and things of that nature. But every now and then, when you really stop and think about like the gruesome things that they have to kind of deal with,
Yeah.
it's kind of crazy.
So when I first started here in Hamburg, my very first call was we had a 3 alarm fire in Hardiston Township. That's next town over from us. And 3 alarm fire is where it's broken down to house wise, and of course it was over there in the condos. So 3 houses came up, so that made it as a 3 alarm fire. So the biggest thing was the one house. The people had left and went out for the night, but they put their dogs inside of a kennel in their room, and it happened that one of their houses happened to catch on fire.
Oh,
So the dogs wind up getting stuck inside the kennel, and then we wind up finding them, but we didn't get there in time where the smoke had got them.
oh,
But when we brought the crates out, we noticed that the one dog was trying like hell to do everything he possibly can to get out.
oh my
Like
God.
he was digging so much into the corner of the kennel to try to get himself out that he actually dug his fingernails right off.
Oh my God.
So it's something that you put in your mind, but you can't keep it in your mind. You gotta let it. You gotta take it out and let it go.
I
But
mean,
there's some parts where you can't take it out of your mind.
yeah, I mean,
You
I can only
can't.
imagine.
So yeah.
Wow. Now, but I would assume the successes kind of help balance it out. The times where you can actually like you get there in time, the times where you help somebody, the gratitude you might receive for certain situations, and it must help with that, or does it not negate the negative feelings?
There's definitely times where we get a call and it's kind of like you hear it come through and like you're telling the guys on the truck, all right, this don't sound too good. But then when you get on scene, it's like, all right, this is not bad. Like they were talking to us on the radio about that, it's going to be this bad.
Yeah.
And such and such how they're explaining it to us, it's going to be that bad. It winds up turning out to be like the best day ever.
No.
It turns out like the best day ever. Like your mind, when you hear the tones drop and you hear the call come in, what it is. All right, now me especially, I'm processing all this to start giving the information to all the guys on the truck. Say, look, this is what we got to do. Get ready for this. Get ready for that. When we get on scene, it's a totally different thing. It's just like kindergarten. You have the kids all lined up. You give them that one word. By the time it gets to the other end,
Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
whole totally different world.
For sure, for
so
sure.
It does happen where we get that.
Ugh. Now I remember. I think was it the trunk or treat? Was it where we came out to the park and you guys got a call in the middle of it?
Yes. So the trunk or treat. So when we were here at the park, the trunk or treat, we had a call come in for a brush fire. Not only that, we had the brush fire. It was also New Jersey state ban where you couldn't have a brush fire.
Yeah.
So we get on scene. We leave the park. We get on scene, and I'm just like, I can't believe what I'm actually seeing. I'm like, this guy is actually cleaning his yard, burning leaves and burning evergreens. I'm like, it's just like when I come around the corner, I actually thought the house was on fire because
Really?
the evergreens were smoking so bad. It actually smoked the whole highway
Oh my
out.
God.
So I'm like, oh my God, here we go, guys. I'm like, get ready. And when we come around the corner to the back of the house where it was just like, oh my God, this idiot's he's got a fire going. He's cleaning up his yard. But meanwhile, he had like 25 bags of leaves that he already raked up and put them in there. So it's like, what is wrong with you, idiot?
Dude, I'll tell you this much. I don't remember what happened after. Or no, I do remember. I remember I went out chasing. I went looking for you guys. I remember I grabbed my camera and I went driving around listening to sirens. I was like, where'd they go?
Your wife was telling me about that.
Yeah, but when the call came in, because it was such like a jolly day, like everybody's kind of hanging out at the park, and the call came in, and you guys just kind of suited up, and you were like, grab the thing, put it in the truck, load it up, and I was like, man, these guys are fucking superheroes.
We
man.
even
Like,
had the truck decorated.
yeah.
Like just tearing things
But it
off
was
the
it
truck.
was it was unfortunate you guys had to leave, but it was kind of cool to see you guys like suit up and roll out like in an instant, like so quick. I was like, damn, that's what's up, man.
So we got it's called a 2-minute drill.
Oh.
You got 2 minutes to get out of what you're in to put on your gear in less than 2 minutes and be ready to go in the fire.
Oh, you know, I've seen stuff like this before actually online.
So it's called a 2-minute drill.
Yeah. Okay. That stuff's heavy. Like, how hard is it to get it on that quickly?
It's practice.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
It's definitely practice.
Okay.
But once you get it on,
So
like,
say I for the first time I get up there and I'm like, all right, start the timer. Like,
I mean, if you watch the first time, then all right, you're gonna try it. I'm gonna put you at like 3 minutes. I mean, there's some people where they've gone like 3.5 minutes trying to get,
really?
Yeah.
That's a significant kind of.
That's a gap.
Yeah.
That's definitely a gap.
Fucking A. You ever seen those videos of like Japanese firefighters? Is that real? Have you seen them?
I've seen some of them. I don't know how to take it, but you know what though? As a fireman, like I watch a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
Like I'm curious of what other countries do. And matter of fact, that you said something. Me and my wife just come back from Bermuda, and we actually passed a firehouse on our way for touring out one of the beaches. And I'm like, on the way back, I want to stop there. I want to know like what they're, how they run stuff, like how they run it different than we are running it. Because I did watch a couple videos from different countries and stuff like that, and I'm like, why are they like they're running it certain ways this way, and it looks so much easier, but why here in America we're not running it like that? And I'm like, so I try to like mix some of that stuff in that I'm taking off of videos and stuff like that.
Yeah,
to
yeah.
teach these guys, look, this might be a smoother way to do this and stuff like that. This equipment might be better than what we're using.
Oh, I know. I saw these videos of these alleged Japanese firefighters. I don't. It's hard to tell because it's
video.
But I was like, what are they doing? But it was these guys. They grab a ladder, they run up, they toss it up, and I was like, is this practical?
They're not human. I know what videos you're talking about, and
yeah.
I watched some of them, and some of them guys out there, they're not human. They're not.
Yeah, but I'm also like, what 1 in a million fire is gonna happen where this is like a practical like I don't, or maybe it's the type of thing where like that level of intensity and agility applies in other situations. Maybe I don't know.
You don't practice for stuff like that.
Yeah, like
you don't practice for stuff like that.
I was
at
like,
all.
it's I don't know. It's like it's very athletic and like orchestrated. From like when it's a burning building.
Yeah.
Like this, it's a lot of theatrics. It seemed like, or maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Some of them are crazy. Some of the videos are just like.
And they're cool.
Yeah, they are. Some are cool. Some are just like, wow,
they're cool.
Nuts. Like, you're crazy.
Now, speaking of cool, when are we doing a firefighter calendar, bro?
Oh, yeah.
When are we cut the shit, man? When are we doing the calendar?
I don't have enough guys with bellies. Bro, guys are skinny.
Bro, we can do a sick calendar, man. I'm telling you.
I know we can. And you know what? I was talking to one of my lieutenants and stuff like that about it.
Like, it doesn't have to be sexy. It doesn't have to be.
I'm like, he wants to do a calendar so bad of us. I'm like,
bro, it'd be so sick.
I know. I'm like, I told your wife, I'm waiting for like some good pictures and stuff like that. I mean, the pictures that you take is amazing that you take.
I mean, honestly, how about this? Let's not even call it a calendar. Let's set up a day where I come down to the firehouse and I take portraits of the firefighters.
That's fine.
You know what I'm saying? We take some themed portraits, some, I don't know. Nothing comes to mind like off the top, but like something really cool. Some guys in uniform, some guys out of uniform. Just something that at bare minimum you guys can, because this is a small town.
Yeah.
At bare minimum you can show the faces of the fire department.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then we could talk about maybe somebody taking their shirt off.
Yeah, actually, we got the parade. Our county parade is coming up at the end of the year.
Dude.
I mean, we got a lot of uniform guys coming in. Definitely, that's like one of our topics that we like to do. Is
like in a small town like this, like if you got a big city, nobody cares really.
Right.
But in a small town like this, I think it's really impactful to know who these guys are.
Right.
You see them at Walmart or something, you're like, oh my God, that's aren't you a firefighter?
Yep.
Like it's nice to have that connection with people. You know. I mean, I'm just a photographer, but I've worked with enough parents and their kids at this point that I get recognized.
We should send you to fire school too, then.
I mean, honestly, I would be so down for it. Like stuff like that. Like I'm prior military, so like stuff like this, it's really up my alley in a manner of speaking. Like I did consider it for some time a few years back, but at this point, I don't got time.
There's no time for you at all.
If I could, if I could go back in time and switch, my career choice,
right,
firefighter definitely would have been a better option.
Oh, it would have been one. It's funny you said that.
Had I
'cause
started, well,
you had started.
but now it just doesn't make any sense for
So
me.
it's funny you said that. If I go back, like, I never wanted to be a fireman.
Really?
Now, like my brother, he's a fireman. My brother as a kid was like fire freak. Like he used to play with the garden hose, like everything. Like he was like a fireman. He was born for it. That's what he was, and that's what he became today.
Oh.
You know, so like for me, I didn't want nothing to do it. I've been around it. You know what I'm saying? Like my mom's side, she was an EMT. My brother, he's a fireman. You know, I had plenty of aunts and uncles that were actually police officers. So I've been around, you know, in the bloodline of that.
Yeah.
But I didn't never want to be it. Never had no interest in it or nothing. And then I started work. I worked at the road department for like, I did almost 17 and a half years. And, you know, I got to know everybody. And, you know, a couple of chiefs were saying, look, we need a guy like you. We need a guy like you. And I'm like, I'm not into it. I'm like, plus now I don't have the time, you know, to do the schooling and stuff like that. They're like, the school's nothing. Just go, you know. I'm like, no, I don't have the time. The next chief came in. He's like, yo, we definitely need somebody like you on here. I'm like, you got to join. You got to join. I'm like, let me think about it. I'm like, you know, I'm kind of busy at work and stuff like that. And like, I'm finally like, no, I can't. I just don't have the time. The third chief come in. He's like, yo, I don't care what you say. I heard you told everybody else, no. We need you bad. Like, this is somebody like you is going to wind up running this place one of these days. And I'm like, nah. I'm like, I told everybody else no. And then I got thinking about it. And I'm like, you know what? You're giving back to the community. I know everybody in the town for all the years work. And I'm like, hell, what? I'm like, I'll give it a shot.
And how did you find the time to balance it, though?
Time,
it seems like that's always the hardest. I mean, God knows I struggle with just balancing, you know?
Time is everything. You know, time is everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I was working, you know, with the road department, and then, you know, I had my side stuff, you know, helping other people as mechanic wise, because that's what I do as a mechanic. So helping everybody else, you know, with little side jobs and stuff like that to cover in. Time was hard. Time was really hard. And plus school started at 7, didn't get out till like 10, 11 o'clock at night. So the next morning I got to be back up, go back to work and stuff like that. So it was, you know, time was everything. But you know what? I put myself through it, and look, here I am today. You know, I just took the position for assistant chief.
Nice.
So yeah, and time is the biggest thing. Time is definitely the biggest thing.
Now, when it, like, how does it? Is there like, because you get these calls at random. You know, I mean, it couldn't be any more random.
Yeah.
You know, like, how does that affect your day-to-day life? I mean, when you just have to drop everything like that.
It's hard. It's rough on the family too.
I can imagine.
You could be somewhere and it's, you know, important day, you know, and stuff like that. But you know what? These guys, they know how big I went into this fire system. They understand it. You know what I'm saying? It took them a while to take, you know, to get used to that. You know, dad picking up and leaving and going someplace, you know, because you got a call or, you know, it was hard on the wife because then she was doubled up on everything with her. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but, you know, the biggest credit went to the family. The biggest went to the family.
I mean,
So,
I can imagine you need to have a pretty strong support system to allow you the peace of mind to do this
and
kind
my
of
wife
thing.
is, you know, she told me from day one, she's like, I don't want nothing to do with it. You know what I'm saying? I'm supporting you 100%. You know, I'll support you in anything that you do. And she's like, I just don't want to be involved in it.
Yeah.
You know, but she's, you know, she gets in little points where she asks me like, well, what happened? I'm like, oh, what happened? I'm like, you didn't want to be involved in it. She's like, I'm like, no, I'm like, I'm only testing your job.
See,
So
it's,
like,
that's such a
they're
tricky
into
one.
it. And especially my youngest one. I mean, my youngest one is, she's like, I keep asking her, I'm like, well, I'm like, when do you want to join? I'm like, I don't know, Dad. And she knows everybody, you know what I'm saying? She grew up with everybody that's in the firehouse.
That's got to be pretty awesome.
Yeah,
too,
and then
though.
like a lot of her friends now, you know, join the fire department in other towns and stuff like that. And friends that she knows, you know, they join too. And it's just like, you know, everybody. I'm like, I don't push. You know, it's up to you. You want to join, you could join. If not, I'm happy no matter what.
Yeah,
you know,
and that's the best way to go about it. I think. Don't pressure them.
No,
you know?
I never did. We never did pressure. You know, we asked them, "You want to play sports?" And they're like, "Nah." I'm like, "Whatever." It's fine.
You know, it's funny you say that.
It's fine.
I had that same energy with my son.
Yeah.
He didn't want to play sports, and I was like, "All right, I'm not gonna force you to do something you don't want to do."
Right.
But you know, he's 16 now. But when he was around 15, he you know, he plays video games.
Right.
And that's fine, I think, you know. But it got to a point where all he did was play video games. So I gave him an ultimatum. And I said, listen, I don't care if you play video games.
Right.
You can play all the video games you want, but that can't be the only thing you do.
Exactly.
So I was like, you can either get a job, okay? You join a recreational activity, freaking band or choir, whatever it is.
Right.
You know, karate, I don't care.
Yeah.
Join some type of recreational activity or join a sport.
Right.
You know, and I told him, you have 30 days. And when those 30 days are up, I take away your video games.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I was like, you could play as much as you want.
Right.
As long as it's not the only thing you do.
Right.
So he wound up joining track. And it's the best. Like, he regrets not doing it sooner.
Yeah.
You know? So I kind of feel bad for not pushing him. But I always had that thing in the back of my head where I was like, I don't want to make him do something he doesn't want to do.
Right.
But there's a weird gray area there where sometimes you got to just give them that push and kind of.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So it's weird. It's weird. Some kids, they don't know. I mean, most kids, I say, they don't know what they want until they're exposed to it, you know?
And it's funny you said that. You know, he said that, you know, I wish I would have done this sooner.
Yeah.
I say that now. I wish I would have put myself, you know, sooner through this fire stuff, you know?
Yeah.
But it's just like.
I mean, that's life, I guess, though, right?
It is. It definitely is. I mean, but from the time I started to now, it's just been, it's been amazing. It's been some hard times. It's been some sick times, you know. It's been some great times, you know, and that's common for the fire department, you know, the fire service. Sure. So, I mean, there's things where you got to go see help. There's times where people control themselves or, you know, just don't pay mind to it.
Yeah.
You know, so you got to have that heart where, you know, can you handle it or can you not handle it?
Hold that thought. I can hear these kids freaking yelling out there. It's so annoying. There we go. I apologize about that, folks. These kids are always yelling. Every podcast I film, at some point you always hear some little kid in the background yelling, some nonsensical friggin', you know.
Oh, boy. I'm
a dad, guys. What can I say?
Yeah. Oh, boy.
But, so how does one, like, what is the process to becoming a, like I know obviously there's a fire academy and things like that. What does that look like really? Like, what do you guys do in the academy?
So the academy tries to simulate what happens in the world.
In high stress scenarios kind of thing?
In high stress areas, yeah. They teach you about reading different things, like for one, reading smoke, you know, your surrounding of the building, different calls that you make and stuff like that. So they try to simulate what an everyday life would be, you know, out in the world or out in the streets. It's, how can I really say this? It's basically to prepare you for the world, you know, but, you know, the academy can only teach so much than what you can teach yourself on scene. So it's I don't know, I'm not a fan of the academy. It's something that you have to go through to get it, you know. I shouldn't say I'm not a fan of the academy because I've been over there for a couple classes. It's been badass classes.
Yeah.
You know, right now the academy has a new instructor, so he's really changing things up. That's actually an everyday, it should be an everyday. Well, I shouldn't say everyday, but it's an everyday thing that you see. You know what I'm saying? That he's getting you prepared for. Okay. So, yeah, it's pretty badass. The academy is actually turning around. So it wasn't like that years ago.
How so?
The guy that was running at the time, he wasn't teaching you the stuff like they're teaching now, where now you have a flashover building. You have some sick obstacle courses, training obstacle courses where you get blinded out and then you got to search your way through everything.
Really?
So in other words, like you enter a building, you're not going to see nothing. So now you're all, you know, hands feeling.
How physical is the academy? Like,
it's physical. It's physical.
Like,
if you're not a physical, if you're more of a couch person, watch it, enjoy it, no, you're not going to make it.
Let me put myself in some hot water here real quick. So my wife for some time wanted me to get her a 50-pound weight vest to train for the academy.
Boy. I heard about this.
Right? Did you?
Yes,
what did you hear?
I heard about this. And she wanted to get shaped for the fire academy.
Yeah.
And she wanted a 50-pound weight.
And here's the thing.
Start jogging. I'm like,
here's the thing. I said to her, "How about we get you a 20-pound vest?" Right? Because,
I said to her, I said 50 pounds. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, you're like this tall. And I'm
Dude,
like, that's half your weight you're carrying. I'm
and
like,
she's like, but the gear weighs 50. And I was like, no, for sure. I understand what you're saying. But what I'm saying is you should work your way up.
Yes.
You know? And she's like, no, but when I get to the academy, it's going to be 50. And I'm like, no, yeah, but that's my point. You know, work your way up. So I was like, let's get you a 20-pound weight vest,
oh my
right?
God. And I told her, I said, you can't look at it that way.
Dude, so check it out. So I got her a 50-pound. Well, I got her 40 pounds.
She didn't tell me about this.
Oh,
She didn't tell me this
shocking.
part. She didn't tell me this part.
What do you know? Hey,
She said she was looking into one. Oh my God, I can't wait.
let me tell you something. I got her a 40-pound weight vest, right? And I put it on. And I was like, wow. If you pick up a 40-pound dumbbell, you pick up a 40-pound dumbbell. But when you put it on,
Different world.
dude.
Can't wait.
And let me tell you something, Reardon.
Can't wait.
What's today's date? It's June 14th. I got her this vest for Mother's Day, right? She has not worn it even once.
You know what? Before I leave here tonight, give me that thing. Give me that. Because
It's in the garage.
she asked for it. She asked for it, right?
Bro, not once, bro. She was like, I'm going to walk around the house with it. I'm going to do all my daily tasks with it. Like, not once has she put that thing on.
Yeah, you got to give me that.
Bro.
You got to give me that. Because next Monday's drill night.
You know,
she-
oh, dude.
I'll pull this out of a rabbit hat and say,
Bro.
look, you remember this? Remember you were
Bro,
pushing?
what about the time you text me and you were like, yo, start calling Catherine? You were in some class. Bro, she was so pissed.
We were in a certified, we were at the firehouse and we were doing a certification class. And she was aggravated because somebody had called your son actually called her for something.
Yeah.
And she's like, leave me alone. I'm in the class. I'm like, I can't talk right now. And he hung the phone up. So I was like, you don't do that. I'm like, you don't do that. Like, take the time. I'm like, I got you now.
Yeah.
I'm like, so I'm like, I text you. I'm like, yo, just blow the old lady's phone. I'm like, just keep texting her. Just keep texting her. And yo, you hit that send button, and it was just like, bing, 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 bing. Yo, she was pissed. Like, I'm
Yo, at first I was confused because I was like, why? Like it was so random. You were like, oh, just call her. Like, you were like, we're in class, call her. And I was like, those are two contradicting statements. I was like, what's
She
going
was
on?
pissed. She was
Yeah.
pissed because
Oh, yeah.
I guess she told everybody before she left the house. She's like, "Don't call me out." She's like, "I'm in a certification class, so I can't talk or nothing."
Oh no, she was very upset.
Yeah,
she was very upset. But I snitched immediately. I was like, no. I was like, I sent her a screenshot of the message you sent me, and she was like, that motherfucker.
She did later that next day when I saw her. She's like, "You know what, you fucker, you're the one that started this shit." I'm like, look, you gotta when you're in fire service, you gotta have fun.
Oh yeah,
Because
yeah. I can only imagine.
when the whistle goes off, like
It's all business.
Yeah, it is. Like
Yeah,
your mind
yeah.
just like it starts wandering. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I try to teach these guys. I'm like, listen, when a tone drops and you're listening to it, I'm like, take it in, but don't process it.
Yeah.
I'm like, you process it if you process it on the way to the firehouse. Not only that, you're not concentrating to get to the firehouse, but now your mind is also wandering. Like, what am I getting into? What am I getting into? And stuff like that. So I try to tell them, don't process it, just listen to it. So,
I mean, I can imagine that's a difficult thing for someone with, someone newer to this environment to kind of rationalize. Where, you hear this crazy thing is happening and people's lives might be in danger, and you're expected to just kind of like, just jump to action without really, absorbing that. Like,
there's a lot of guys out there that does that. Like, they get all humped up and stuff like that, ready to go, and then like when they get on scene, it's just like, shit, what do I do now? It's like, where do I go from here?
I mean, I can't.
But meanwhile,
imagine
there's a
getting
victim
on
inside
scene.
the house, and I'm like, dude, snap out of it.
Oof.
And I tell it, like, when I tell everybody, especially the young kids, when they get on scene, I'm like, yo, when you get off the truck, just take a glance, look what your surrounding is, and then meet me in front of the truck, and I'll give you everybody instructions what we're going to do. 9 out of 10 times I get out, and they're just, like, glazed, like, to the flames. I'm like, I feel like sometimes just slapping some of them, it's just, you don't listen. I'm like, just glaze, look at what you got, look what you're getting into, and then take it out of your mind, and then, meet me in front of the truck for the for the directions that we're going to have.
It's got to be such a high. I mean, there could not be any more high stakes scenario than someone's
Look,
home,
it's-
someone's lives.
My
like-
wife will tell you, I don't get excited. I don't get excited for nothing. Like she's like, oh, we're going out to dinner and stuff like that. I'm like, all right, let's go. I'm like,
You know,
I don't.
I've heard that. Does it dull your like? Is it the type of thing where you're exposed to such like high risk, high intensity kind of scenarios that your everyday life sometimes you find it to be kind of like, is that a thing?
I don't know if it's a thing. I don't know if it's really a thing or not. It's just like I just go, I just flow with life.
Yeah.
I just flow with it. I'm like, all right, fire call come in. It's a 2 alarm fire. I'm like, all right, I already know what I'm up to against. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm trying to listen to is we got victims? Do we have certain kind of things or certain things that we can't have? I'm trying to listen to all that.
Now, do you think as a firefighter, like are firefighters typically like adrenaline junkies? You think like is there a high that follows a call, or do you think it's all just like tunnel vision?
There is guys that do get tunnel vision. Definitely get tunnel vision, and there's guys that just like me. That just like, all right, let's go. I'll deal with the process when I get there. I'll find out more when I get there. As a chief now, it's like now I got to take in more. I got to listen to more. I got to focus more. Not only that, not focus, but listen more, as a regular black helmet firefighter, but as a chief now.
What does that mean exactly?
So you have black helmets, which is just a regular firefighter that does interior fighting or whatever whatever section of the firehouse they're on. They could be a truckie, they could be a a firefighter, a rescue guy. It all depends what they want to go into. We're not like that at our firehouse. So in other words, we have 2 engines and a rescue truck. So a rescue truck, anything goes out for rescue wise, we have all our jaws, our cutting tools, our blocking, and all the other stuff that we have on there for rescue. So there's in other companies, career companies, I should say, they are assigned to that truck. So that's all they do is just rescue. So, they could be search and rescue. They could be just about anything that comes across, water rescues, all that stuff. Then you have your engine. Your engine does a lot of different stuff. They could go from roof cutting to, running hoses into a house to put out fire. And then you got a truckie. A truckie is basically your ground guy that does all your firework and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
So a black helmet is just a regular firefighter. Then you have, it all depends. A lot of companies are different. Some are red, some are yellow. So in other words, ours is red helmet. So that's your lieutenant or your captain. Then you go up to white helmet. Then your white helmet is assistant chief and chief. Chief is the highest you can go on that. You can go higher if you wanted to. You get into county work and stuff like that. So, I just lost my own thought now.
Hey, I'm not mad at you. It's the whiskey.
This is like an every evening thing. So I think it's
This is really good whiskey, man. What
is.
what brand was this?
So this is. Let me grab it. So this is Evan Williams Apple.
Huh.
Yeah. This is.
It's sweet.
It is. It's sweet, but it's not sweet. It's not like that hard whiskey swallow or that sweetness. It's just
like you don't make a face.
No, you don't make a face.
It bothers me when I see people hold back the face. Make the face.
The man that never drinks it.
Yeah, just make the face, man. I make a face. I drink whiskey.
The man that never drinks it.
Let me get a little pour in there. Oh man, we're about to get saucy on this podcast.
Honestly, nothing. So I got introduced to this stuff about 3 years ago. Yeah, 3 years ago. I actually received it as a Christmas gift, and I fell in love with it.
It's unbelievably sweet.
I fell in love with it.
Like I feel as though, I mean, I don't know. I could be mistaken because I drink whiskey on a semi-regular basis, I guess. But I feel like anytime I tell people that I drink whiskey, they're like, oh, this is, But I feel like someone who doesn't drink whiskey would really enjoy this.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. I don't know, but it's really good. Now, are you are you a whiskey drinker?
I'm actually both. I'm a whiskey drinker, and then I like my gin and tonics. Gin and tonics is.
I don't think I've ever even had a gin and tonic, to be honest.
Gin and tonics is. If you want like a good time, party wise, gin and tonics. But like stuff like this, chit chat and stuff like that, chilling out on the deck,
Yeah,
you know, cigar
yeah.
wise, then
Yep,
it's
yep, 1,000%.
oh Evan, I call him Evans. Evans visits us for the night.
You know, I got into whiskey a few years back. We called it daddy time, where I'm always so busy, I'm always doing so much that me and my wife kind of agreed. Like on Sundays, I would have 1 hour where no one could bother me. You know, and I would just go into the backyard and I'd get a cigar, I'd get a glass of whiskey, and I'd read a book, I'd watch a movie, and I would just chill back there, and nobody under any circumstances would be allowed to,
Don't even look at me.
no trash, no, we don't have to go nowhere. Like you either figure it out or you wait. But there was pretty much a timer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was like we called that daddy time.
Daddy
and that
time,
was it.
that was
yeah.
it.
Yeah. That's not a thing anymore.
No, it's not. No.
Although granted, tomorrow is Father's Day.
Yes.
And I told him, Happy Father's Day, by the way.
You too, pal.
Yeah, look at that. But and I told my wife, all I want for Father's Day is quite literally, in every sense of the word, nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I want you to sneak out of bed. Don't even look.
Bro, like I don't want somebody mopping behind me. I don't want to go out for dinner. I don't want nobody to come over. Yeah, I don't want to hear the sound of a vacuum. Like, I want quite literally, in every sense of the word that you can imagine, nothing. I just want to chill.
You know what? It's a lot of guys are like that, and then you know, I just float. You know, they say, "All right, we got to run to the store real quick. Do you want to come?" It's a yes or no thing, and
we can run to the store every other day. I was literally about to run to the store before you got here.
I told you could have ran away.
You know, but I didn't want to run to the store. You know,
it's like my wife asked me the same thing. She's like, "What do you want to do tomorrow?" I'm like, you know, and why do you don't ask? I don't care.
Right,
like, yeah, it's my day. I understand it's my day. You know, and I don't know. It's like my Sundays is kind of like chilled out day. Get ready for work the next day. You know, so it's like she's like, "What do you want to do?" I'm like, I don't care. You know what I'm saying?
See, that's the thing. For me, it's Sundays are not. I try to make Sundays a chill day.
Right.
In the sense that, like, personally, if there's something that we're gonna do, we try to do that on Saturday. So that Sunday we could just unwind for the most part. Right. But I have my job, and then I have my hustle, which is photography.
Right.
You know, so usually, even when I'm not working, I'm working. I'm either shooting or I'm editing. There's always something going on. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
So it's really difficult for me to find time to just like disconnect from everything. I mean, almost never. I mean, truthfully, even tomorrow, I'm gonna do some light editing on my iPad as I hang out on the couch.
Right.
You know? But tomorrow is my excuse to just kind of hang out and do some light editing. And the only reason I'm going to do light editing is because if I don't, all day I'm going to think to myself, there's things that I need to get done and I'm not doing them.
Then it'd be a heavy editing.
Exactly. So at least if I get some light editing done, maybe just cull some files. I got a bunch of projects I'm working on. I mean, I just today I did a video shoot and photo shoot. Like, if I can just get something done while I'm on the couch, very minimal, I'll feel good about not doing anything.
Right.
You know, but it's Father's Day, so, and this is the one day where I'm like, this is, like, I literally said to my wife, I was semi-joking, but I literally was like, I mean, could we just not even, like, brush our teeth? Like, let's just, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have to think about any chores, you know?
Right.
I'm gonna turn off our radio tomorrow. No calls tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow's just a chill out day. I met my daughter. My oldest one is bringing grandson down, so we spend some time with him.
How many kids do you have, if you don't mind?
So I have two daughters. I have an older daughter and a young daughter.
Daughters.
Yes, two daughters.
Oh man.
Yes. Yeah, we
I
started
can't even
young.
imagine. I got one son and one daughter. Two daughters got to be
Yeah,
crazy.
no, we started young. We started really young. We met in high school, '96. We met in '96. We graduated in '96.
Sick.
97. We had our first daughter, which is my oldest one, Kayla, and then 9 years later we had our second daughter, Hartley. So they're 9 years apart.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So 96 we met, 97 we had our oldest one, and then 98 we got married. So
okay.
6, 7, and 8 was like a slammer right off the bat.
Yeah.
We got that done and put off to the side.
That's a good age gap because then you have a babysitter.
Yeah.
You know, because that's what we did. My kids are like 6 years apart, 7 years apart. You know what I'm saying? So you got a
Yeah.
little,
Yeah, as an age point, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the way to do it, man. You don't want to go back to
I
back.
mean, we said it. We say it now, like 9 years. Like, "Whew, what do we wait so far? Why do we wait so far? Why do we wait so long?" But you know what though? Them 9 years separate between them two. I mean, them two are like peas and carrots.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they're like peas and carrots. Yeah, yeah,
I mean, yeah, I could see that if they're really close in age, then there's a lot of sibling rivalry that happens. Whereas I think if they're like my son's a little older than my sister, and granted, he's a jerk, he'll bully her and stuff. But to some degree, I think he does see himself as the big brother, as the
Yeah.
protector. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whereas if he was like a year apart, he'd be like, I don't want to fucking deal with her. You know what I'm saying? So I think having that age gap, I think it works in a lot of cases.
yeah. Well, it's
You
like
know?
my youngest one. For her, it's a special moment for her with the grandson because she's the only aunt. Because on my son-in-law's side, it's all boys.
Yeah.
So for her, it's like a special moment every time that they're together. And my wife watches them during the day. So, like, my daughter right now, she's out of work right now. She just got let go from her job.
Oof.
So she's kind of helping mom with the little one. So it works out for right now. She's looking and stuff like that. But it's just like you got somebody that's working for work, but then nobody wants to hire anybody. It's tough right now. It really is tough.
Yeah.
So
that
it's
is
a
true.
good thing. Like she gets to spend that time with him, as the only aunt in the whole entire family with him. So she enjoys it. She does. She really enjoys it.
And that's awesome. That's pretty dope, though.
Yeah.
I just noticed. Is that a tattoo of
It's
a ring?
tattooed.
Of a ring?
Of my wife's name in a ring.
Really?
Yeah.
Fire.
Because what happened was I've gone through 3 wedding rings. And then it's like finally I'm like, let's just get them tattooed on because the kind of work that I do is I'm going to lose a finger or I'm going to wind up losing more rings.
So it's funny because I'm wearing a couple of rings right now, but my actual wedding band is silicone.
You know what? And a lot of people are telling us about that and stuff like that. Why don't you just get the silicone one or, just get one? We have wedding bands, but it's just like, we put them on for special occasions. It's like going out.
Yeah. No, a lot of people wear these other rings for fashion. For my wedding band, the silicone.
But a lot of people are telling us about the silicone ones that if you do get caught up on something, it might damage your finger a little bit, but you're not going to lose it like a regular wedding ring.
Yeah.
So-
I mean, it'll break. I had one break at the most inopportune moment. I got hired to shoot a wedding in Mexico.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they flew me out to Mexico, and like day one, it broke.
You duct taping it together, gluing it together.
I mean, here's the thing: like, what am I gonna do? You know what I'm saying? But I remember at one point I was out there, and I said something like about my wife, and one of the bridesmaids or whatever was like, "How come you're not wearing a ring?" And I was like, "Oh, I wear a silicone one. It broke, whatever." And she was like, "So you just don't wear a ring because you're in Mexico?" And I was like, "No." I was like, "I'm literally telling you about my wife. Like, why would I?" But it's a bad look,
Oh my God.
And then I told my wife, and she was like, "Oh, so you just took it?" I was like, "Jesus Christ, it's rubber. Things happen." Just the worst timing for it to break, though.
It's so nuts.
What are you gonna do? Right?
Yeah.
I lost my place. Where were we?
I don't remember. I don't remember. I think Evans is kicking in a little bit, but
geez.
it's all right.
Evan is the third guest on the podcast today.
Yeah. Good friend.
Yeah. New friend, but good friend. I really like this guy.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, man. This is really cool, man.
This is. And then hopefully next, we get together again on something like this. And then,
Absolutely.
we can get deep into some firematic stuff.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Especially for the, homeowners and stuff like that. And,
Yeah.
Your watchers and stuff like that can learn a lot.
Yeah.
So
And
hopefully-
then we can also just talk more shit about my wife.
But I definitely
I love you, babe.
I definitely want that coat. You're gonna get it.
Oh
trust
yeah,
me.
I'll grab it for you right now.
Yeah.
I promise you, I'm gonna get it for you right now, and she's gonna be like, "Oh no, but no, because what happened? Actually, I was gonna like get the fuck out of here."
Cat, you're in trouble. Just to let you know, I got the coat. You're done.
Oh man.
But yeah, no, definitely. I could get into some, heavy firematic stuff.
Yeah,
That can alert people on their homes and stuff like that. I won't go into it too much now. You know what I'm saying? I'll save that for another cast for us. Definitely another
For
cast.
sure.
some pretty like I was telling you some of the stuff downstairs when I first came.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
So
Oh yeah, about my furniture and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, furniture is the biggest thing in house fires today.
Yeah,
you know
well,
what you
yeah.
people
We'll definitely do another one and go
Yeah.
into some depth about kind of like fire prevention or
Yeah.
just things to keep an eye out for.
It's what people don't realize is what they're putting in their house.
Oof.
It's making it worse. Yeah.
You know, it's crazy. The thing is, everyone thinks like that can't happen to me.
Wow.
You know, that's the crazy thing about it.
You can't. I mean, I try not to think that way either. But you know what? You know, being in the service, I see it all. I know it all. No, I shouldn't say know it all, but
You know
I
of
can
it.
prepare for it.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? And even though I can prepare for it, it still doesn't matter. It's just that one moment that it's not your fault. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yep.
It's just something that you don't know, you can't see, you know, that's something can happen.
It can happen to literally anyone.
Exactly.
Anyone,
Exactly.
anytime, any place.
Look,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, for my fire that I had in my backyard.
Yeah, you're literally the fire chief, and it
it's
happened in your
burning
backyard.
half my yard down.
That's crazy. Yeah.
But it was a pleasure. You know, definitely got to do it again.
Yeah, man, this is awesome. And if any of the other firefighters would want to come, I mean, I know not everybody wants to be on camera and stuff, but if anybody wants to talk about their experiences or stories, you know, feel free to send them my way, man.
I'll
We can
pass
talk.
it around.
For
I'll
sure.
Definitely let them know.
Do you have any last words of wisdom from a firefighter to anybody out there?
Oh, last words. Last words. What could be last words? Think, but don't be stupid.
Think, don't be stupid. I like that. I
Yeah,
like that. All
definitely
right,
think.
man. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for coming by.
Thank you.
And guys, it's the outro.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
You already know the deal, guys. If you've been here before, you know the deal. Like, subscribe, drop a comment, and we'll see you on the next episode. Peace.